Today we are coming from Bel Air, Maryland. I'm back from Navarre, my dad's town in Florida, and because it's supposed to rain all week, so Rhonda and uh, I changed the flight to have her come. Hi, Takara. Oh my goodness. All right, let me see. Takara, if you could do me a favor and share this for me in Meerkats, because you remember Meerkats, you can do that on Facebook. I would be so grateful because it just went away. Facebook's kind of moody. Anyway, let's see on YouTube. You guys are slowly gearing up. I know I'm early, right? Because I just wanted to make sure this is the first time I am. Hi, Karen. Blessed morning to you. And Robert, you're here from oh my gosh, Robert. Let me see, Robert. You're from across the pond, right? And Sarah's here. Sarah. You know what? I got my cheaters, so I can. Sarah Carroll, right? And you're in Utah, so you're up early this morning. Yeah. All right, I'm going to ask you about the temperature all over. This is the first time I'm broadcasting in the new office. Remember, I changed rooms. The master bedroom is now the office, and I changed the master bedroom into the office. It's the first time. So I've got it's facing a window, which is behind. Before the windows, the lighting was wrong. So it is such a blessing to be able to have the right lighting. So if you're watching this on Facebook, uh, I'm looking better than I normally do because the lighting. I don't know. I just, yeah, my gosh. Anyway, I want to update my list there. So, and I don't have your age, Carol, or the medication you're on and the type of MS you have. Robert is you know what? I don't even have the date I started this because I know you've had a birthday, Robert. I know you have. I know. But when I did this list, let me see. It was March of last year. I all right. I think you're 52, Robert. No. All right. I don't want to out you if you're not comfortable. Anyway, when I was down the bar, I did some serious swimming in the Sound. I've got that lesion back here that I'm so dizzy that I use the scooter so I don't fall. Uh, you're still 50 because you were 50, Robert, a year and a half ago. No, let me think. A year and a half ago. Robert, yeah, right? Jane's here. Yay, Jane's here. And Karen, Karen R. Let me see. Karen, God bless you, Karen. You know what, Karen? For some reason, I don't have you. Let me see. Karen R. All right, stand by. Karen, Karen R. I know. I did. I send you a bookmark, Karen. Did I send you this? Did I send you this? I know I did to Kara. I know I did to Kara. So I wanted to make sure. Oh, you know what? That. Thank you. All right, Sarah. I want to update you. All right, to Sabri progressive relapsing. All right. But it did that you didn't tell. Hi there, Juria. You didn't tell me how old you are, Sarah. All right, you're on Tisabri. By the way, I think Tisabri is the best Tisabri medication out there. I wish they didn't take me off of it because I'm on rituximab. By the way, it went generic. No, I'm not. You see that? Where? No. All right. I'm gonna update this. All right, Sarah, 45. And what I'm gonna do is put the date, right? It is July 6th, uh, 21. I forget what year. 12. I know, Juria. I know. You know what? It is. And we have got Jane, Mama Jane. I love you, Jane. Jane, you should be here. And Diana's with us. All right, I know Diana's on the list, right? How are you doing on Ocrevus? I want to talk a little bit that, you know what? I want to talk a little bit about rituximab and how my neurologist called me up and told me that it was the secretary that it's gone generic and they're no longer going to be paying. My insurance is no longer. Good morning, Michael. Oh my God, no longer paying for rituximab. So basically they were upset. Remember, I just had rituximab a couple months ago. So I let them know that it's not a big deal because it went generic. We knew it was going to go generic, which is why Genentech never got rituximab approved for MS. They changed it and got Ocrevus approved for MS. Uh, but it's generic now. So I'll get you the name of the generic. That if you're on rituximab, it's the cheaper version, the generic. I'll get you the name in the future. There. All right, who are you talking? No. Oh, Sarah, thank you. You're talking to me. Sarah's asking me if my new doctor, Dr. Becker, will allow me to go back onto Sabri. And no, nobody will. Nobody will let me go back onto Sabri because the risk of PML with me is 3%. 3 in 100 that I'll get this deadly brain infection. It might affect my balance. Stop laughing. Stop laughing because you know what? I talked to a lady because I was supposed to have a baclofen pump appointment at 1 o'clock today, but Rhonda's here from California, and I called up to reschedule it. And I said, she says, what about next Tuesday? And I said, that's great. I have to go down to the airport and drop off Rhonda. And she says, what time do you have to drop off Rhonda? I said, that's a wonderful question. She laughed. She laughed at me. I said, are you laughing at me? She says, yes. I love it when people laugh at me. It's good stuff. So, oh, by the way, if you are watching me on Facebook and you're commenting and you're not meerkats commenting, and I'm not answering you or saying hi to you, it's because I don't see. Or in the different, my Facebook page, in the groups that it's sharing, I don't see you. So and after this broadcast, I go back and I see all your comments, and I feel bad that I didn't comment. But I love you. Oh, if you're watching me, thank you. Thank you for spending your late morning with me, your brunch hour. All right. So You know what? I got to tell you, all right, the reason why I'm at higher risk for catching my death on Tisabri is that I had Navantrone. Uh, and I love that about you. All right. Diana said Diana is saying, I'm going to talk about Tisabri in 1 minute, but Diana is contributing. She says that she's on Rituxan because she has cancer, and Ocrevus has more of a risk. That's because the protocols that you get the medication every 6 months, and they give you more than you need. Uh, Remember, I'm not a doctor, and I'm going to let you know that I'm not allowed to say because I do not have the experience, and it's in my opinion. They give you 3 times the amount of Ocrevus you need to reduce the CD19 cell clusters. And the side effects, when you get 3 times you need, is, believe it or not, in mice, it was breast cancer. It's like shoving tons of saccharin, right? The pink stuff into a mouse. You get too much water. By the way, you drink too much water, guess what? Your electrolytes will be unbalanced and you'll die of a heart attack. Yeah, you can die of water drinking it. So no, Sheree, I'm not in. Okay, so Rituxan went generic. So and Diana, I'll give you the name because next time I'll put the name of generic rituximab. I'll talk about that. Generic Rituxan, because generic Rituxan, I'm taking notes because it'll be cheaper. All right, now the reason why my risk increased with Tisabri is, well, you know what, Diana, thank you, and she thanked me, and I'm going to go back to Sabri again. And thank you for being part, because you make us better, right? You being here and asking questions and making comments triggers. It works. And Monica's with us. I haven't seen you in ages. Okay, Sharia. Okay, and for those of you on Ocrevus, it's just imperative that I remember, I'm not a doctor. I'll tell you, just ask for the CD19 blood test. All right, ask for that before you get the medication, because even rituximab, Diana, rituximab, I take every year because it gets that CD19. It's supposed to be below 7. And when you get the medication, it knocks it down to 0. Well, if it's below, if it's starting to increase above 7, the CD19 is a cell designator that tells that cell that myelin's bad and to attack that. Waiting for doc. Okay, May, go to msfrontiers.org and look at the medications that for MS. It's the only site. Ours is the only site that will have the order of effectiveness and the side effects. Oh my gosh. Back in the day, they actually had the side effects and they had the order. These drugs had the order of effectiveness. And that is so great, but they don't do that anymore. They compare it with other drugs. So now you'll have Tecfidera saying, well, when compared to Copaxone, Tecfidera is 80% more effective than Copaxone. Well, wait a minute. It's Copaxone's only 30% effective. So if it's 80% of 30%, then it may be only 40%. You see what I'm saying? It's not fair. compared to the placebo, people taking nothing. That's what I'm saying. Get your CD19 levels. It's blood work. And you know why I know that? Because I was sent to a hematologist to have this test, and he ran my lymphocytes to find out, because my lymphocytes were so low, and Johns Hopkins was afraid to put me on something that could cause a deadly infection. But you know what? The best approved. And now, Monica, it's very important you know that we're not doctors, so everybody's going to have an opinion. If you go to MS Frontiers, you'll see the level. Right now, the best approved, the ones that keep you at bay, the best, like I think it's 78%. I can open msfrontiers.org, and in fact, I will. All right. Let me see. MS Frontiers. All right. All right. Stand by, because I'm going to tell you. Because I'm going to the site. All right. Let's see. Medications for MS. It's under, all right. It's a Copaxone. It's 29% effective of preventing attacks. All right. So, the big problem with Copaxone is that when you inject it, it hurts the injection site. So the way you get over that is if you ice that shot site. It's a first line drug, so they tend to give you that before. You have to pass all the first line drugs and prove that it's ineffective before they'll consider these great ones. All right, Aubagio. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm reading msfrontiers.org. All right, Aubagio is, in fact, it just got approved in Europe, right? Aubagio is a pill that you take every day. It's 31% effective. The side effects is lymphocytes. All right, I don't see. The interferons. All right, interferons, Avonex, beta seron, which I thought, when that was improved, I'm going to go off. But remember, I was on that. And Karen, she's not with us. Karen, our time check person. Love you, Karen. Where the heck are you? But she was on that. There's those of us who had MS in '93. It was the first medication used. But anyway, the interferons are basically 33 to 36 percent effective at reducing attack. Mazent, symptom, I gotta see. It's an oral medication, 55%. If you have relapsing remitting. Secondary progressive MS, it's 30%. And remember, when I say secondary progressive MS, I'll say people like me who have active relapsing remitting and SPMS. I'll talk about what that means is that you have an active disease. You can have attacks that eventually the damage will turn into demyelination and cause problems in the future, which is why I'm dizzy. Mavenclad is 58% effective. It's an oral medication. Let's see, Gilenya is 54% effective. The big thing that I want to tell you about Gilenya is that, remember, I had skin cancer, I had melanoma, malignant melanoma removed. It increases your your chances of getting that. It also, it's a hydromacular degeneration. It's problems with your eyes. You have to go to the eye doctor once. Let's see. Oh, once a week. All right. See, macular edema is what they say. Posterior vertebral, and that's the water in the brain, skin cancer. You know what? That's scary stuff. That is more scary to me than to Sabri, because the odds, doesn't tell you the odds of having that. Lemtrada is 55% effective. When I went to a seminar about Lemtrada by the pharmaceutical company, they believe that it could put you in permanent remission. I know people, uh, let's see, I know people been on it that swear by it, but let's see, Navantrone, which I don't think they use it anymore. Navantrone, I got to change that. It's 66% effective. It it put me in remission for only 2 years. Uh, yeah, it's a here's something scary. If you've had Navantrone, it removes your ability to get stem cell treatment. It Oh, I see. All right, just a second. It removes the chance of you having stem cell treatment. It also keeps you from having a lot of the medications that they have. Namantra to Sabri, it increases your chance of having PML from other medications. Uh, all right, now Tisabri is 68% effective. Um, I love Tisabri because it has the side effect is that it tends to make you feel better. All right, now periodic. All right, and the two highest ones are Ocrevus and rituximab, which is not, rituximab is not FDA approved for MS. But I'll let you know that it's both of them are 70% effective. How Ocrevus and rituximab are different. In fact, if you, oh my gosh, I doubled that. I gotta fix this website. Anyway, I have how they're different, and also, all right. Let me see both. All right, now I haven't been able to see what you're saying. You're chatting. Since Monica asked me what's the best approved medication, because I've been reading of MS frontiers.org, the website for. In fact, the very top, it's got symptoms of MS. All right, symptoms. Oh my God. All right, we can. In fact, that's what I'm gonna do at some point. I'm gonna go through. It's got diets and exercises, what doctors need to know, alternative therapies, steroids for attacks, coping with MS. It's got a blog from a gal that is, let me see, wonderful. It's also got MS Frontiers peer reviews. A lot of people. I did a call to review the website and everything. The website, also the support groups. In fact, what I'll do is hi Liz. I may ask all of you to contribute to the reviews on that website so that oh no, I don't know. I don't know. And it's important you know that hi Gina. It's important you know that this MS Live is not me. I'm just your host. It's you guys. You guys, because I believe God brought you here with questions. Like Monica, you had a wonderful questions about that made me look at msfrontiers.org. Both Janes, you mean the other Jane's here? Jane F. Uh, and Tim's here. Tim. Another person from England. I'll tell you what, I love you. I love you all. Liz, let me see. I don't know where my other. Oh, all right, my second page of that. I need some water. By the way, I notice the new office. Notice the new office. Oh. But you know what? This MS Live, the reason why I'm saying that is that you guys come together and you ask questions that we feed off each other in that we help so many people. So your voice is just incredible contribution. God brought you here. Now, Gina, by the way, YouTube Gina is on Facebook. Gina, pretty girl, you need to jump over onto YouTube because, well, I made you. There you. No, that is. Wait a minute. That's right. You know what, Gina? There you are. I'm happy. I'm happy. You know what? The beach, I do too. But I'll tell you what. I got to tell you something. There is something about being in salt water that I think it heals us with the MS. It may not heal us, but it makes us. When I was in the Gulf, and those of you on uh, um, Facebook, I posted a video of me swimming in the Sound, and there was wind blowing, and there was not a current, but it was pushing. And so I couldn't stand because I was too dizzy. So I had to keep swimming, and closing my eyes and swimming made me dizzier. But when I stood up, in fact, Brian got me a boogie board so I can, grab the boogie board and steady myself. But what was great is that fighting trying to stand with the current. And when I stood and held on to the boogie board, and it was balance therapy between that and absorbing that salt water. I tell you what, I need to be at the ocean. So, Tim, what I'm saying is that you know what? I'm going to move down there. I'm going to sell the house in Maryland. And Jane, you talk about moving to Ecuador, right? No. It's not Ecuador. It's below Belize. I'm thinking. You got to excuse me, because I forget. I've got MS. All right. So let's see. Gina. Yeah. All right. So, Gina. Sarah's saying hi to Gina, but she misspelled it, and she felt so bad she corrected the spelling. Monica, this is individual for each person. The meds can respond differently. So Gina is responding to you, Monica. We have statistics-wise, I'm a statistics person. If you look at msfrontiers.org, you'll see the odds of generally the people having Ecuador, I always thinking orderly. You know what? I'm telling you what, Jane. When I moved down there to Navarre, you know what? I'm gonna have a guest bedroom and invite anybody who wants to fly down and therapy in the sound. We're gonna we're gonna get better down there. If not, because my husband, we went in the Gulf and it was bad. It was bad because I was like a towel in the Gulf, the ocean Gulf, whereas my husband was holding my wrist and I was flopping in the waves going in and out, and he was being watched. It was funny. It was funny. So, anyway. You know what, Sharia? That would be great because you're in Alabama, right? Sharia is in Alabama. Yeah, because Navarre, Florida is known as Lower Alabama because it's just below Alabama. But yeah, of course, I don't know. Anyway, I would love that. I would love that. But I've gotta get down there. It's healthier for me. I'm not as much pain down there. My energy is better. I came back, and believe it or not, I had to start taking Ritalin because Rhonda came in. Uh, let's see, the 4th of July, picked her up, or Brian drove down, picked her up, and I had to take the last 3 days. It's the 6th, so the last 2 days I had to take 2 Ritalins yesterday just to get out of the fog. And I'm not telling you anything new. It's like being in a bubble, and just to feel human, just to step out of, you know, it's like you're in a cocoon. Well, you guys know that. You know the fatigue is not anything a human without MS can ever feel. I never felt this tired. It's you're so tired with this MS fatigue that you can't sleep. You lay there and you stare at the wall, and that takes energy. And you close your eyes. You're not asleep, but you're not awake. It's like, the closest thing I could say is when you're in a deep sleep and you don't have MS, you're in a deep sleep and you wake up at 2 in the morning from a deep sleep and you're kind of lucid. You know what? It's like lucid dreaming. You don't know if you're awake or asleep. That's the way it is. This MS fatigue, you don't know if you're awake or asleep. You're not awake, but you're not asleep, and your body wants to keep going. It's just, and for that they have Provigil, Nuvigil, Ritalin, Amantadine. It's awful. Uh, um, you know what, Gina? We're gonna lesser spasticity, lesser. I'll tell you what, Gina. I want to get your Canadian butt, your Canuck butt from Canada, and you and your husband are going to come down and stay with us. Because you know what? All of us with spouses or significant others, uh, we people with MS can be together, and because we understand. You know what? I can't do heat and humidity either, but the month of June in Navarre is in the 80s, and they've got this breeze off the Gulf. It's cool. I was cool the whole time. When humidity got high, so you go out in the morning, you go out at night, and then during the day, if you get in the ocean and SPF 500, this here is yeah, SPF 50. I had that on my face and my body the whole time. I still got tan. I tan. I get gold. So it doesn't matter. The heat and humidity is in Orlando or in Miami, but the Panhandle, Sharia's got humidity, more humidity in just north in Alabama than the Panhandle, Navarre, because you get the breeze off. You know what? And it felt like Hawaii. It felt exactly like Hawaii. Uh, I gotta say, the month of June, it felt like Hawaii, where it's the breeze. It just, you put on your bathing suit, and that's all you needed. So it felt like Hawaii, Gina, just so you know. Let's see. Okay, so we talked about medications. We talked about the MS fatigue. So I came back and I needed the Ritalin. Yeah, I needed Ritalin, and in fact, I took one about an hour ago to lift the fog, just because I was like this, and my eyes were half masked, and I'm thinking I've got to show up and be able to read. So you guys deserve more of that. Now, what Sharia is saying is that in Alabama, it's hot and humid because you're in Mobile, and I've been there. I've been to Mobile in August. They have that Air Force. They have an Air Force down there, a base, and I went down there, and the mosquitoes were the size of pterodactyls. They're terrible, and talk about humidity. Oh my gosh, it was really really bad. You know what? But you know what, Sarah? You talk about hot and dry in Utah. What you have that is so much better in that heat or the dry heat is that you can use the misters. You can get a water bottle and spray, put it on mist and spray it up, and when it comes down, you know what you're cool. And the reason, here's when I was in Arizona, and Diana would say that because Diana, you're in Arizona, right? Yes, you're in Arizona. And one of the things I'll say is that when I swam and it was below 90 degrees and I got out of the swimming pool, the evaporated heat would chill me. I would get more cold than I do in the winter, getting out of the swimming pool in that dry heat. So if you get out of the pool in humidity, it's like you get out in a steamy room. It's comfortable. Uh, and that's important for those of us with thermoregulatory disorder. And that's if we have MS for a long time, we can't cool ourselves down or heat ourselves up. So, and that's a miserable thing. So even though yesterday it was 88 degrees, I put on a neoprene swim vest, and because the water was about 85, so I did the swim vest, neoprene swim vest. I had my arms out, and I swam that. And a lot of people, good morning, Will. So a lot of people are like, why are you swimming in this heat in this neoprene? And what it is that since it's 85 degrees of water, is that it would cool my body, and I don't have the ability to heat itself up. So it keeps my core warm enough. Remember, 90, I run at about 94, 95 degrees I real a lot of people with MS I've discovered run low, but it's one of those things that if you can't warm yourself up, even in the heat, I did not. By the way, I did not need. I brought neoprene. I didn't need neoprene in the panhandle in the sound. In fact, we rented a pontoon boat and we went up, and Brian beached it, and then I jumped in and I swam. It was between islands. I swam back and forth, back and forth. There was no current, so I just kept swimming around. I had goggles. I was looking at fish. It was beautiful. You know what? It's much easier to cool down. You know what, Gina, you are my sister in MS, and it's the same thing. Last night, we were sitting on the screened-in porch, my girlfriend and I had a thick blanket across my legs, and it was over 80. Because when we sit down, the lack of circulation, the blood pools in our feet and well, in my feet, and it gets really cold. In fact, she reached over and she felt my leg because the three of us went for riding the T-bird. We were like sausages. I was in the middle, and Ron was on the one side, and Brian was driving on the other. So it is. I'm like you. I'm like you. It's easier to cool yourself down. When I went to the urology appointment, it was over 80 degrees. The sun was beating, and I had the convertible, and it was too hot to drive home. But what I did is I had a towel and I brought it in and I got it soaking wet. And so it was cool, and I covered my head and my shoulders with this white towel, and I drove home with that. And with the wind blowing on that, it kept you can learn from the Mexicans who work in the field what they do. Did I? All right, you're all right. Sarah's teasing me. I said, all right, my Jersey girl accent. All right, did I say something, Jersey? Because she see, you know what? For those of you who watching me that are in New Jersey, my classmates and all, you you can take the girl out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the girl. And uh, doesn't. All right. So anyway, I was driving with the convertible with the towel over and the terry cloth because it never dried out. And I drove 45 minutes home and on the freeway because I knew if I went on the back road, it might be a problem. So I drove on the freeway to get home fast, and I was cool enough. The Mexicans in the migrant workers out in the field, take a note from them. If you expose your skin in the heat, uh, uh, that skin will be hotter than if you get a white linen or white cotton long sleeve sweater. And you keep the sun off you, you'll be cooler. Uh, just you know what, doesn't want to regulate between 95 and you know what, all right, what it's between 95 here 15. Oh, Jane, that's terrible. In fact, yeah, it's terrible. Jane, terrible. That is, but it's dry heat. Remember, you can have that water bottle spray. Tell me, does that water bottle spray, because she's in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and they're having a heat wave, and it's awful for her. And I'm wondering, what do you do to stay cool? Well, you're in dry heat, so you can spray that also, if you get that towel and terry cloth towel and you put it over you, does that work? Does that work? Because it works in the humidity. With the beating sun, you got to keep the sun off you. Oh, it's awful. It was 88 here. Rhonda can't handle the heat, and we were at the pool in the shaded side of the pool. Uh, and so the most common comment I see is that it's harder for us to heat up if you have MS. The majority, it's harder to warm up from the cold than it is from cold to warm. If you're hot, to cool down. And you know what? If I jump in the swimming pool when I'm too hot, I immediately, and you'll know, because when you're hot, you all the old symptoms come back. You go blind, you're incontinent. Hi, Frank. Frank, you're normally on Facebook. I like you here. I like you here. But anyway, all the symptoms. Now your leg can't work, you can't walk, you. In fact, that's why jacuzzis are dangerous for people with MS, because you may not know when you get too hot to get out of the jacuzzi. And I got so cold this last year, 2 years ago. I got in jacuzzi at the club to warm up, and I'll tell you what, it was 102 degrees in there, and I was afraid to get out because I was so afraid of being cold that I was in there for 20 minutes. When I start seeing white, that means that I stayed in too long and I got to get out. It's and get in the pool. And I don't want to get in the pool because going from a hot jacuzzi in the pool, it's too cold. It's too cold. Uh, you know what? Uh, Sarah, yeah, Sarah, and I know a lot of people with MS. I have a dear friend that lives in Augusta, Georgia, and she spends the entire time in air conditioning. She'd be, I've known her for so long, and she'd be with us, uh, but she doesn't like YouTube or Facebook. She just stays away. But anyway, and I invited her to be part of this ministry, help me build it, because she studies the medication too. So anyway, you know what, Jane, cold year round. Jane is talking about how her feet are cold year round, even if she's overheated. And my left foot, right here, sitting here, uh, my left foot is freezing. So I like to cover it. Here's a trick. Also, if your feet are cold, Jane, what are we supposed to do? Mine swell and they're cold. What are we supposed to use? Compression hose that pushes the blood up, because the reason why they're cold is because the blood is pooling in it's not circulating, right? The other thing is that whenever we sit, when you have MS, you're supposed to put your feet up, right? And when you have advanced MS, like many of you guys do, you really need to put your feet up. Just I don't know. So yeah. You know what? And in the winter, um, I have it's called hot hands, but their foot inserts and they heat up. and they heat up for about, let me see, 10 hours, 9 hours. And I live on them. I live on them. I can use them in the winter or in the summer, because Brian puts the air on at 74 degrees. If I had let him, he'd put it at 70, but I get too cold. I get too cold. So the hot hands, they have the hand things, but you put it in your shoes, and they create heat from the bottom up, and it is, yeah. You know what, Gina it does, Gina is giving us information, and she posted it as a question, but it's actually fact. Our veins and our capillaries get spastic and restricting the blood flow. So just like we get spastic, we need baclofen so that we're not like Barbie and Ken. We get stuck out, like stress keeps us, the worst keeps us rigid, right? Just like we're rigid, our body gets rigid, our muscles jerk out, our veins get rigid, and they spasm, and they keep the blood down there instead of bringing it up. So Sarah is saying yes, agreeing with Gina. But we had that episode of MS Live where we talked about how spasticity affects so much of our organs when it's in the future. There is the cardiac, heart attack because of spasticity, and the blood, it's an MS. I didn't realize that. And we had the guy who said that he had a cardiac issue caused by MS, uh, um, and so that is something that can affect you with MS. So a lot of people I didn't know die of heart attacks with MS because of spasticity induced. I'm going to have to go back and see what he said. And Jane gives wonderful suggestions on how to deal with her legs, the cold in her feet, even though it's warm out. It may be 100 degrees out, and you are totally comfortable, except your feet are ice cold. And Jane says she elevates compression socks, reflexology on my legs and feet and butt. You know what? And you still have cold issues. Well, you know what? And in the winter, I have a heating blanket and a heating pad because I call it the charge. My legs lose the charge, and it needs an external heat source to bring the charge back to them. And so and that's why I do the insoles. I get a case of them every year, even though it lasts a year and a half. Let me see. All right, you guys aren't talking, and let's see. Participate. I'll go back and I'll read some. Just doesn't regulate. You know what? It doesn't regulate. My body doesn't regulate anymore. So I get colder and hotter than anybody else, except for you guys. Not, you understand. And you know what? I think the MS Association understands because they send free cooling stuff. It's like they get it. They get it. The MS Association. They get it. I don't know. All right. Let's see. Anybody else have anything to contribute? All right, Gina. It's hard to stretch veins such as we can stretch our muscles to ease spasticity. Exactly. But here's something that adds to the pliability of veins. Water. That as we age and we deal with bladder difficulties, we people with MS don't like drinking water. We have to drink lots more water than the average person. 64 ounces a day is the average person drink. So you and I, all of you and I, right when we get up, we should have 2 10-ounce glasses of water. Put on a diaper if you have to. You need to flush out the impurities. You also need to add water in those veins because we're made up of what, 60% of water, humans, and water decreases the inflammation we have, which now Sarah is saying listening and eating, can't talk. All right. Let me see. Sarah is saying, yeah, my husband gets cold when I'm comfortable. All right. Robert, you know what? Let me tell you something. My mother's husband, my stepfather, Walter, he used to like to say that he was allergic to water. He would drink coffee in the morning. He might have a soda, an orange soda, and then beer in the evening, one beer, with his. He died of a massive stroke in his carotid artery. And you've got to drink water to thin your blood. Even if you add a little lemon juice to it, get some cranberry juice, get some orange juice, flavor your water. But I'll tell you, Robert, for your health and longevity, those of us who drink water live longer. It's you know what? And Gina says, why do the opposite what you're saying with the water thing? What you don't drink it, Gina? What are you saying? All right. What are you saying, Gina? You do the opposite, so you don't drink water. All right. Sarah, I do 40 ounces. And you know what? 40 ounces. That's you know what? Isn't clear. It's cloudy. And you know what, Robert? I understand. I just understand. You know what? If you can boil it, if you can make lemonade, if you can do something to increase the water intake. Do you know for every cup of coffee you're supposed to drink a water, your full glass of water because it's dehydrating? Same thing with every glass of wine or alcohol you're supposed to drink a glass of water because it's dehydrated. Uh, you know what? And I have days where I don't drink enough because I don't feel like you know hanging around the toilet. Susan, yes, I'm home because Navarre. We weren't sure if that hurricane was gonna make its way up the coast. And by the way, they're just getting a huge amount of rain, and Rhonda and I would not have had. She wanted to meet Winston, and I've been friends with her for so long that she's the aunt of my dogs, and she has seen them like you guys through the, and she knew they'd be great, but she's my sister. I love her. I love her. I love her more than life itself. But yeah, I'm pretty dark. Pretty dark. All right, let's see. Hence, you have the UTI. It's the worst thing. Just pee too much. That's true. But if you notice you drink a huge amount of water, you are less likely to get infections because you're flushing out the bacteria. You got to hang on the toilet a little longer than the average person because you got to drain everything from your bladder. The more you keep things in your bladder, the higher the chances it can be get infected. Uh, uh, and Amazon has a bottle that it's 32 ounces. It has the time uh, that you're supposed to drink it. You're supposed to fill it twice, and that's the average person. 64 ounces. If you take a glass and you put it by the toilet on the sink, and every time you go to the bathroom, you rehydrate yourself. That's good. Now, UTI, we'll talk about UTI, but it's the top of the hour. I've talked for an hour on Thursday. If you guys want to talk about symptoms of dehydration and how it affects multiple sclerosis and ideas that we can get more hydration in our body, we'll talk about that on Thursday. Anyway, go to msfrontiers.org. You're on Facebook and you're watching me and you don't follow me, follow me, and then subscribe to YouTube. I love you all. Let me pray us out. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for everybody who contributed today because we're all an instrument to help comfort each other. Lord, thank you for these people comforting me, and thank you, Lord, for staying with me so that I can read everything and allow everybody contribute. If I haven't called you out by name and you contributed, forgive me. Subscribe to YouTube because I tend to read more of that. I love you all, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye, guys.